Rubber burning engine screaming, it's a madhouse. Hyper shift racing, every driver wild and riled out. Peacemaker broadcast, a crowd tuned in tight, watching steel beasts fight under stadium lights. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Tires spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hyper shift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafting on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits, in the fast lane we stay. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, the glory we take. Tire spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hyper shift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafted on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits, in the fast lane we stay. Pistons pump like heartbeats, it's mechanical insanity. Hyper shift warriors bending physics with calamity. Peacemaker feeds a frenzy to every fan's delight. When the lead's in the zone, it's a glorious fight. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, the glory we take.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to set these drivers loose as qualifying underway. Drivers looking to try to put themselves into the top spot here on the leaderboard, trying to put themselves into a great position to start this evening's race, as it is the Juicy Spider 175 here from the Brickyard. It's Indianapolis Motor Speedway here this evening. Such a amazing racetrack, such a historic speedway here this evening for the Hypershift Racing League. And for each and every one of these drivers, they'll be looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane. They want to taste that milk, or they want to kiss the bricks here this evening, as each and every driver will try to put themselves into victory lane. As we'll get them locked and loaded and ready to rumble here in just a few more moments as qualifying underway. Drivers looking to try to put themselves into a good spot, hoping to get a good qualifying run in. Right now, it's dark out there on the speedway. It is dark outside. It is not going to be like that for long. I do believe that we should go back to the daytime here for the feature event. I just think things progress throughout practice to the qualifying session, and it's going to go back to lighter here in just a little bit, so don't worry too much about that one. But nonetheless, we get ready to set these drivers loose. We get ready to go to battle. You see Anthony Ludi out there getting some good laps in there with his Adidas 95 ride. You see Jeremiah Nelson out there. He's able to jump up into the 9th position. Jaden Newson, he's out there on the speedway right now. Looks like he's qualified into the 17th spot. Tyler Gronister looking for a little bit of extra speed here out of the 99 ride as Gronister right now down the back straightaway, hoping to get this final lap in. I'm not sure if he'll have enough time, as right now he's qualified in the 21st position. We're yet to see Max Cost or Gage Wenzel slide out onto the racetrack here for their qualifying efforts here this evening. And that's a heartbreaker for those guys, as they will have to start at the back of the pack. And there we go. Qualifying has come to a close, unfortunately, for Chronister. Won't get another lap in there, and we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, and ready to go here for our A main feature event. There we go. little bit brighter out there on the racetrack now. A little bit brighter. We can kind of see what's going on now as 213 Simware coming in with the like and the share. Hypershift Racing League coming in with that like and the share here on the stream as well. Coming in showing the love early on here this evening as each and every one of these drivers will look to put themselves into a good position, trying to put themselves into a winning position out there on the speedway. And for right now, it is that 51 ride, the Rogue Machine of Zach Wilson. Wilson had a good run going. Unfortunately, did not get the finish that he was hoping for last week. And for Wilson, he will start on the pole position here today, looking to rebound from early mistakes last Thursday night. He'll have Dylan Picklesheimer there to his outside. Picklesheimer also with the tough run. A lot of drivers had some tough races last Thursday, but here we go. We're going to get them locked and loaded. Another night, another day, another opportunity to try to find their way into victory lane. The Tiny Toe 77 ride of Dalton Wicker will start there in position number 3 in a beautiful tide ride. That 94 standing out like crazy here this evening as that's Adam Boughton. Boughton will start in position number 4. Starting in the 5th spot, the Adidas 213 Simware. But kicker number 95 ride, that is, or actually the admin box machine, that is the 95 of Anthony Ludi. To his outside, the number 12, the Menards ride, that is Gavin Grubb, starting there in 6. Starting in position number 7 in the Interstate Batteries Toyota, it is the 18 of Michael Carter. Into his outside in the DHL Toyota, it is the 8 ride of Kent Mueller. Starting back in position number 9 on the inside, row number 5, that is the 20 machine of Jeremiah Nelson. To his outside in that beautiful RaceEPI.com number 24, the Chevrolet of Jack Simpson. Starting in position number 11 is the 34 of Drew King. To his outside will be the 96 ride, that is Aaron Spear. Starting in position number 13 in the 84 Jonathan Cogswell. To his outside in the Tiny Toe 17 is Corey Denk. Starting in position number 15 out there on the speedway, it is the 2 ride of James Hudson. Hudson will start in position number 15. To his outside, the Napa Auto Parts number 9 machine, it's Al Likens there in 16th. Starting at 17th, you see him right there. It is the ASL machine. That is Jaden Newson starting there at 17th. To his outside will be the Gearhead machine, the 54 of Justin Hendry. The beautiful number 7 ride, the Noble American Apparel machine. That is the 7 ride of Chase Abel back there in 19th. To his outside will be the 11 ride. That's the Mobile 1 ride of Mr. Chris Sofeld. Back in 21st, it is that beautiful Walmart 99 ride of Tyler Chronister. And back behind him to his outside will be that Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches new paint scheme here for Gage Wenzel. As Wenzel will start there in 22nd and bringing up the rear of the field there in 33rd. It is that number 63 machine, the 23rd driver out there on the racetrack. It is Max Cost. So 23 cats getting ready to go to battle here this evening from the Brickyard, here with the Hypershift Racing League as the Juicy Spider 175 gets underway here this evening. We end all the anticipation with our feature presentation. You can quickly see these drivers starting to move around as they're 3 wide down into corner number 1. Look out as Wicker already looking to try to make some moves down on the inside lane. Wicker took a peek down to the inside there of Zach Wilson, but Wilson able to get a good run down into corner number 1, drags him out at corner number 1 and 2, and it will lead us down the back straightaway here on our opening lap. So Wilson out in front, Picklesheimer back there in second. Wicker, unfortunately, no drafting help to his back bumper, will fall back into third, should be able to fall back in line, but looks like he's going to stay tight down to the inside of that 45 ride, trying to complete that pass here on lap number 1. Know that he wants to jump up into position number 2. We'll have to wait and see. Doesn't look like the 94 ride is going to fall in behind him. That's going to give a little extra drafting help, but it does look like the 77 able to clear the 45 machine as they're tight down the front straightaway. Now here comes that 94 machine himself. Adam Boughton with a big run, a solid drive down into the first corner here Now looking to try to take over third from Dylan Picklesheimer. But out in front, leading lap number 1, it was the 51 of Zach Wilson. Wilson able to lead the first lap here this evening as Wicker up into second quickly, closing the gap here on that 51 ride, already looking to try to make a move down to the inside here. Wicker wants to put himself out in front, looking to lead this race here this evening as everyone wants to lead the pack here at Indy. Such a historic racetrack, so many races, so many amazing champions have been created through here, through the Brickyard 400 in NASCAR or the Indy 500 there in the IndyCar Series. Man, there's been so many champions, so many drivers that have been in the victory lane here at Indy that through the history of IndyCar and NASCAR, man, it is just such a historic racetrack, been around for a very long time. And I do believe I just read that I do believe it's Roger Penske who owns a part of IndyCar. He also owns this racetrack. He actually just sold a part of the racetrack and a part of IndyCar, a percentage of his ownership, to Fox. So that's a big news break right there. So Roger Penske giving up some of his shares here to Indianapolis Motor Speedway and to the IndyCar Series, and that's a big move right there for Mr. Penske. And now we'll see Fox a part of that ownership, so we'll have to wait and see what other changes they may make to this racetrack. As there we go, down across the line, it's a tight race, but Wicker able to jump out in front, take the race lead away from Zach Wilson. Wilson will slide back to second, and now the 77 of Dalton Wicker out in front leading this field. As each and every one of these drivers, now the big question is going to be not only tire wear out there on the racetrack, but fuel mileage may play a major factor here this evening. For all these drivers, they got 4 sets of tires back behind pit wall. That should be ample amount of tires here throughout this race. By now we see an abundance of caution flags and drivers putting on an abundance of new tires out there on the racetrack, but I feel a lot of these drivers are going to try to make this into a 3-stop race, but have that extra set back behind pit wall for a little later on. It's I'm assuming they're going to try to make it to somewhere around lap number 20. Now, I don't know if they'll exactly get to lap 20 out there on the speedway, so I could assume that we're going to see a lot of these drivers probably come down pit road around lap number 17 for the first time, and then again we'll see them back down pit road around somewhere in the lap 34, 35 area, somewhere in that area, and then obviously again for the third time probably somewhere inside, lap number 50 to probably 55, 56, somewhere in there. I feel there's a lot of drivers' numbers that they're going to want to get to, give themselves a little bit of extra fuel for NASCAR overtime, but they definitely don't want to have to make 4 pit stops out there, binding a late race caution flag that they throw on that extra set of tires. So we could see a lot of drivers falling backwards, trying to play that game, trying to save a little bit of fuel out there, every little bit that you can get, and it all starts right now. It all starts in these opening laps. If you want to make it here, you got to try to save a bit here in this first run. You got to save a little bit in that second run, then a little bit in that third run to be able to try to make it on 3 stops. If you kind of go balls to the wall the whole time, you're probably going to run into some fueling issues and may even have to make that 4th pit stop later in this race, because I feel we're going to see a lot of drivers. I don't think they'll make it to lap 20 on fuel. I feel like with the 75% fuel load that these drivers can have in these race cars, they're going to be back in down probably somewhere around lap 15, somewhere in there, maybe save a lap or 2, maybe make it a little bit farther, but it's going to get very, very tight for a lot of these cats in the fuel mileage game plan here this evening and trying to make it to the end of this race, and maybe no one will be able to make it to the end, and we may have to see everyone come down for a 4th green flag pit stop no matter what, because we may not see a caution flag here this evening. This is a very big racetrack. Obviously, craziness can happen at any point in time, but these drivers, very, very good, very talented, and very respectful cats out there on the racetrack, and we should see some very good racing, but we should also see some very good green flag laps being laid down out there on the speedways. You do see the 9 ride of Al Likens. Unfortunately, Likens going to get pushed up the racetrack. Right there is the 84 of Mr. Jonathan Cogswell. Going to take that spot away from him here. Likens going to fall back a couple spots as now here comes that 40 ride of Jaden Newson. Newson right down to his inside. So Jaden looking to move up another spot here, and he's got his teammate now to his back bumper as a pair of those 24-30 rides up into position number 14 and now into position number 15. It's Gage Wenzel also going to go right on and around Al Likens, and there is our first caution flag. Looks like Al Likens going to run into problems. We saw this Napa Auto Parts ride struggling there, falling backwards, and that's going to be our first caution flag, and that is a very interesting yellow flag right there as we're kind of right in the middle portion about where these drivers would want to make it on fuel. So you just watch them get into the corner, sends it in there a little deep. The 40 ride actually pushes up the track there a little bit. So I think it's a little combination of two things. So the 9 ride sends it in there. Looks like he's already getting a little bit loose, but then the 40 kind of gets tight, pushes up the racetrack. That's where we see a little bit of contact there into the front nose of that 9 ride. Now he's trying to save it from clobbering that outside fence, trying to keep himself out of any major damage and catastrophic failures out there on the speedway. Able to avoid the wall, able to spin it down into the infield here, not get tied up with any other driver. Not great, tons of damage on that 9 ride. Great piece of driving to save that car and keep himself in a major trouble out there on the speedway. But nonetheless, that driver going around will bring the caution flag out. And with that being our first yellow flag on the day, that should really set the stage here the rest of this race, as we should probably see. I'm going to say we're going to see every one of these drivers head down pit side. I don't feel like anyone is going to stay out there. I don't think anyone's going to test the fate of not coming down pit road here and getting fuel. So I think we're going to see a lot of drivers go down pit side, get fuel early here, especially if we see the stay clean and green. But there we go. We're going to get some drivers to come down pit side. Other drivers faking it out, not coming down as of yet. I'm not sure if the red lights were kind of scaring them off there a little bit. Doesn't look like it, as all these drivers are going to head down pit side nonetheless. As Kels says, let's go, Tiny Toes. Denkin Winker cheering on Winker in the 17 ride out there on the speedways. The Tiny Toes rides out there on the racetrack. And Linda O'Keefe and Emma also coming in, cheering on Gage Wenzel here this evening. They both say, let's go, Gage, cheering on Gage out there on the speedway. As we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, and ready to go back to green flag racing. We did see these drivers that came down pit road right here. Drew King, one of them. We also saw, I do believe, the 99 ride there. Tyler Chronister, Chase Abel, Cogswell down pit side. Gage Wenzel was down pit road. Jaden Newson, Max Cost, Al Likens, all down pit side here. You know, I feel a lot of these drivers probably not going to get tires, but probably going to take some fuel into their rides. Let's see if we can even play this back. Let's take a look at a driver like Gage Wenzel, who's trying to navigate his way up and through the field after starting at the back of the pack. Actually does look like he throws a set of tires on. That's a big surprise. Maybe just looking for the track position early on, but burning a set of tires this early. See him going to get jacked up right here, going to get tires put onto that car. 40 rides getting tires. A bunch of these drivers getting tires early on here this evening. So early strategy calls. I did not expect that. I expected a lot of drivers probably just go fuel only down pit road right there, not wanting to take tires. If we stay clean and green and we start to see green flag pit stops out here for a lot of these drivers, that could really get them to their number. With that area of coming down pit road on lap 8-ish right there, having another caution lap or two, they probably wouldn't have to come down pit road till well over lap number 20 out there on the racetrack. And really that could set themselves up if we go clean and green to the end of this race, that they would only have to make, 2 or 3 more pit stops where everyone else is going to get very, very tight out there on the speedway to make it to the end of this race. So I'm not sure about that call, putting the tires on early. That could really hurt them late in this race if we get one of these late race caution flags that we're kind of used to seeing. If we get one of the late race yellows, that could really hurt their chances here, as everyone else could come down pit road, put on a new set of tires where they may be putting on scuffs from the first 7 laps of this race, where they're going to be still behind the 8 ball, still in a bad position out there on the racetrack. So we'll have to wait and see how they're going to be able to try to balance out those tires, try to figure out a way to make it work out for them, especially if we stay clean and green now. Obviously they're going to have more fuel than the drivers in front of them, but burn up that set of tires is going to be scary right down to the end. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that and how that may work out for them. But we should see the fresher tires be able to navigate fairly easily through a lot of this traffic, try to work their way up towards the front and making some passes here and trying to get into the battle here. If we stay clean and green, though, a lot of these drivers probably not going to have to come down pit road here until probably around lap 18, 19, maybe even lap number 20. And I think a lot of these guys were expecting to not see that caution flag or wanting to just hit their lap numbers, not wanting to give up on their game plan about where they want to come down pit road to try to make this a 3-stop race. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out for them. Obviously, green flag pit stops, never a fun time. You lose a ton of track position. You run the risk of potentially having issues down pit road, and you run the risk of potentially going a lap down out there on the speedway. So, be interesting to see how this plays out. Obviously, our top, 14 drivers did not come down pit road right there. Our bottom 9 did come down pit side. So, this is going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Who's going to be able to put themselves where, as we do see Al Lankins roll back out there. And we did see Jack Simpson. Looks like Jack Simpson's disappeared off the racetrack here. I don't know what's happened to Jack. He was out there on the racetrack, and he is now gone off the speedway. So I don't know if he may have lost connection, may have ran into some internet connection issues for that 24 ride. But as of right now, he has scored back at the rear of the field here. And looks like he only got 9.47 laps completed before getting kicked from the server due to probably connection issues. So we'll have to wait and see if he can try to get back out there onto the racetrack. Because here we go, down through the Geico restart zone. We will see that green flag fly once again here at the Brickyard. As the green flag quickly coming out, the 77 right at Dalton Wicker quickly onto that loud pedal, gets a great launch and a great push there as well from Zach Wilson. Wilson was right there with him as they both rolled down on that throttle and quickly pulled a little bit farther away from that 45 right, able to clear Dylan Picklesheimer. No door-to-door battle in there for them, but the door-to-door battle and back here at the back of the pack is continuing to heat up as we see some contact. Look out, a couple drivers tied together. There goes Chris Sofeld. Sofeld turned around down here on the apron of the speedway. No caution flag as of yet as the 11 ride parked down in the infield. Still no yellow flag here for the 11 machine. And with him being on the grass, I don't think iRacing is going to register him as a car turned on the speedway right here. If he's trying to get the yellow, he may have to pull it up onto the racetrack there, but takes the veteran move. Oh, no, there he is. He's still out there. He's still on the racetrack. Here he comes, rolling back out. He's able to get that car rolling. No caution flag. But, man, tons of damage here on that 11 right front end. Damage on the right side and left side there for him, and unfortunately that is not going to be fun. Let's take a look back and see how this kind of gets played out right here, as it looks like, I don't know if he just gets loose coming out of corner number 2. See if we can get a good look at it here. Yeah, this looks like he gets loose, or maybe wheel disconnects, something right there. He did sit down on the apron for quite a while, so I wonder if potentially ran into a steering wheel connection issue right there for that 11 ride, as he was straight out of the straightaway here out of corner number 2. That car's pointed straight right here, and really no need to pull up to the high side. So I feel like right there runs into a steering wheel connection issue. That sends him up the racetrack. Unfortunately for Gage Wenzel, gets a little contact out of that. The 99 ride of Tyler Chronister also gets some pretty good damage out of that hit right there. And for the 11 ride, obviously no steering wheel connection. Just slides down into the infield. Ends up with quite a bit of damage here himself, and that's going to really set him back, as here he comes down pit side, already a lap down. It may potentially fall multiple laps down out there on the racetrack, as Dalton Wicker out in front. Wicker continue to hold on to the race lead as we see Zach Wilson there in position number 2. Dylan Picklesheimer, Adam Boughton, and Gavin Grums duking it out back here for that 4th position. Grums to his outside. Boughton in the tied ride down on the inside, looking to try to keep position number 4, trying to keep that 12 ride back there at bay. Here comes Anthony Ludy. That is a teammate to the 94 ride, and looks like they're going to get a little drafting help here down the front straightaway, trying to get that extra little bit of drive into corner number 1 here for the 94 as he looks to clear this 12 ride, but yet to do so, and they continue to battle door to door. And now it looks like maybe the 94 just concedes that spot early on in the race. No sense in racing that hard. No sense in putting yourself into a position to potentially get wrecked, as he'll now fall into line as he jumps up in front of Jeremiah Nelson and falls back into that 6th position. So Gavin Grubbs up and into 4th. Anthony Ludy there in 5th. And for those drivers that came down pit side and got the fresh tires, They are deep in the field here still. They haven't really moved forward very much. We see Jonathan Cogswell. He's the only driver that pitted there on lap number 8. Got fresh tires. He's kind of still stuck back here. Unfortunately, he's only passed one driver that is yet to come down pit side, and that is James Hudson. Hudson's only fell back one position, so drivers like Max Koss, Gage Wenzel, Jaden Newson, Chase Abel, Chronister, Likens, Drew King, they have not gained any track time or track position out there on the racetrack, even after putting on a set of tires here at lap number 8 this evening. So really no clear advantage out there on the racetrack for the fresh tires there after 8 laps, 7 laps of racing action. As out in front, Dalton Wicker continues to lead the way, and now that we start to roll in towards that lap 15 area with the 75% fuel load, it was definitely looking pretty curious on when drivers may have to come down pit road, but they're going to get a saving break right here as we do see the caution flag fly. So the yellow flag will come out as we take a look back. We see Drew King going to run into some issues here. Let's take a look. So Drew King, Al Likens, door to door down into corner number 1 and 2 here, and just looks like out of corner number 2, just gets loose, spins that car around up into the outside fence, tags the outside wall right there. Car stopped on the racetrack. There's the 24 ride. Good to see Mr. Simpson back out there on the speedway. Unfortunately, he is a few laps down, but with the car turned up there, parked on the outside of the racetrack on the racing surface, car coming behind him there, that's where we see that caution flag get thrown. So a tough break right there. Drew King just getting a little squirrely out of corner number 2 here. That's something we're probably going to see quite a bit of here this evening. We already saw, obviously, Chris Sofeld, though I don't think his was just getting loose. I think his was a wheel connection issue, but nonetheless, 34 comes out of the corner, gets loose, tries to save it. Car snap hooks up into the outside fence. Luckily enough, not too hard of damage or any major damage dealt to that number 34 ride, and he'll be able to get that thing pointed back in the right direction, rejoin the rear of the field, and now we get an opportunity to see more drivers potentially come down pit side. Now, I feel we're going to see probably everybody come back down pit road right here, and I think all the drivers that did not come down pit road, I think they're going to take this opportunity to come down pit side right here. I don't think you turn up this possibility. I feel like you come down pit road, you put maybe not tires on, but I definitely feel like you get fuel into these cars. Obviously, tires are pretty even right now. They weren't really giving up any time at all to the older tires, so it's going to be interesting to see kind of how this plays out, as we do see a couple drivers staying out right here. Looks like Jonathan Cogswell not going to come down pit side. We see Al Likens not coming down pit road. The driver that just spun around, the 34 of Drew King, he's even going to stay out there on the racetrack as well. So that could really mix things up here for the restart. Chris Zofeld, he's going to get the lucky dog, the wave around right there, so he will get a lap back. I do believe he's still scored as at least a lap down out there on the racetrack for Jack Simpson. Unfortunately, stuck in a tough spot here. Chris Zofeld going to need another lucky dog or wave around before he can start to get some of these lucky donks as well, as we did see everybody come down pit road, and it looks like all these drivers going to get tires here put onto their race car. So tires being put on. Other drivers like Gage Wenzel, who had a great pit stop right there. Actually, it looks like the 94 as well. Watch the 94 ride right here, that tied ride of Adam Bounton. Looks like Bounton playing some tire strategy here. Looks like he goes for a 2-tire pit stop. There's the right side getting jacked up. He gets set back down and gets that car filled with fuel, and there he goes. As the other drivers that were in front of him got 4 tires, he goes for a 2-tire pit stop for a driver like Gage Wenzel. Let's throw this back into reverse for some of these drivers that were already down pit road. Let's take a look here at Gage Wenzel. I'm going to say Wenzel never took tires again here. Obviously, already took that one set. Now they're kind of balanced out here with everybody else out there on the racetrack. Obviously, they're going to have a little bit older tire. They're going to have a little bit more green flag laps than the cars that just came down pit side and put stickers onto their race car. But you see this 36 heads down into his pit stall. Going to get fuel into this ride. That's going to be, I think, the big question mark here. Tires, I don't think, are going to be a major factor out there on the racetrack. Track position and fuel mileage is going to be the name of the game to potentially put yourself into victory lane here later in this race. Obviously, having a good car, obviously putting yourself into a good position, and if you can, keep yourself up towards the front of the field, have that track position, it makes calls like that easier later in this race. Wanting to keep that track position, stay out there on the racetrack, and potentially keep that race leader speed or anything else. As you take a look at Wicker, Dalton Wicker had the race lead as we get ready to be restarted. He will restart back in the 8th position, as he lost about 4 spots down pit road. Also loses 3 spots for the cars that stayed out on the racetrack, as Jonathan Cogswell will now be our race leader with the 9 of Al Likens there in 2nd. Drew King in 3rd. Boughton in 4th, with Gage Wenzel now into the 5th position. His teammate Jaden Newson will be to his outside with the 51 of Zach Wilson and Dalton Wicker running out our top 8. Then we see the number 63 of Max Cost back there in 9th, in the 12 ride of Gavin Grubbs going to round out our top 10, as we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing. We'll get ready to set them loose here once again. So the action just about to get restarted, and for all these drivers, we'll have to wait and see what they can do and where they can put themselves out there on the racetrack to maybe move forward, gain a little bit of that track position, maybe set themselves up here for later in this race. As Sean O'Keefe, Sean says 36, we got a lot of work to do, but let's get to the point. He says still a little bit of work to do. That pit stop right there probably definitely helped him out a little bit. He's now into that 5th position. We'll have to wait and see if he can just quickly try to navigate his way around some of these guys in front of him, try to hold these other guys with fresher tires back there at bay, as we didn't really see those older tires fall off as much as I think a lot of those guys that came down pit road on lap 8 were expecting, as they really didn't advance forward, didn't really move forward throughout the field. So I think a great call here for some of these drivers, for the 94, the 40, the 36, getting that fuel only, getting that track position, putting themselves into a better spot out there on the racetrack. Definitely going to help them out, especially with having the same amount of fuel as the drivers back behind them. But for the drivers that are here in front of them, they're going to have a lot less fuel in their rides. So for Cogswell, Al Likens, Drew King, they're about 8 laps less fuel in their race cars here, and that means 8 laps earlier having to come down pit side here if we see a long green flag run. Here we go, back to green flag racing here at the Brickyard. Throttle back on here for the 84 ride, as Cogswell looking to lead us down into corner number 1, hoping to clear that 9 ride of Al Likens down and out of corner number 1. Unfortunately, could not get the drive that he was looking for. They're still door to door here into corner number 2, and looks like Likens really powering down there through that 2nd corner. He will actually jump up and almost clear that 84 ride. We'll have to wait and see if anyone goes with the 84. No, 84 of Cogswell will fall in line. So Al Likens now to the point here this evening. So Al Likens out in front. Cogswell falls back into position number 2, and there is Gage Wenzel. Wenzel looking to work his way into position number 3 with the pass. Now on the 34 right of Drew King. King falls back into position number 4. Boughton now battling door to door here with Dalton Wicker, as Wicker trying to navigate his way back up towards the front of the field here. Wicker, that 45 ride of Mr. Dylan Picklesheimer, Zach Wilson, drivers that were up inside our top 3, showed a lot of speed early in this race. We'll have to wait and see what their cars are going to be able to do here now that they're kind of stuck a little bit back, a little deeper into the field here. Obviously, a lot more dirty air, a lot more competition, and a lot more passes that they're going to have to try to do. And unfortunately for a lot of these drivers, they may kind of just get a little stuck back here, just trying to make moves, trying to put themselves into good positions to complete passes out there on the racetrack. So we'll have to wait and see how quickly they can work themselves up and through the traffic. Is right there, you see Picklesheimer getting a little deep, gets into the back bumper there of that 51. It kind of stacks up the drivers back behind them, and unfortunately it's Gavin Grumps who's going to pay the price for that one, as he will fall back a couple spots there on the racetrack, as the caution flag will come back out. Caution flag will fly here once again. So this one just getting better and better and better, man. It's definitely getting a little bit more exciting out there on the racetrack. Everyone trying to push their way towards the front. And right here, we're going to see maybe a little contact here. Let's take a look at the Noble American ride as Chase Abel into corner number 3. You see the 54 wash up the racetrack. He's rolling out of the throttle, and it looks like the 7 ride is going to kind of follow him up right there. Obviously, both drivers kind of push up the track. The 54 rolling out of the throttle, trying to keep himself out of the fence. Chase Abel not realizing that, gets in there a little deeper, and they kind of get up into the wall. They both check up. Here comes the 99 ride of Tyler Chronister really never got checked up at all. Gets tied up with that 54, and it's going to lead both of them up into the outside fence right there. Pretty solid contact for both the 54 of Justin Hendry and the 99 ride of Tyler Chronister. Let's see if we can play this back as Chronister gets a good run here at a corner number 3, but obviously with the drivers getting into the wall right there, he probably did not expect them to be in the fence, not checking up as much as they were, and obviously, by the time he got up there, made that move, it was a little too late. Made the contact with the 54, drives them both up into the wall. Both of them with some pretty serious damage out there on the speedway, and that will bring out, yet again, another caution flank here and another opportunity for drivers to take fuel, take tires, take anything that they desire out there on the racetrack. We'll have to wait and see if there's any takers here. It looks like maybe, nope, looks like Picklesheimer just going to fake a lot of these guys out. He's going to fake them out. He's going to keep playing those games, and we do see Kent Mueller also coming down pit road. There's Tyler Chronister. Looks like Justin Hendry already down pit side. Chris Sofeld, I do believe, getting the wave around here, the lucky dog, and now I don't know if that's going to put him back on to lead lap or one lap down. I do believe he'll still be at least a lap down out there on the racetrack, as our race leader just started lap number 21. He just started lap number 19, so he's actually 2 laps down out there on the racetrack for Chris Sofeld, and that is not a great place to be here on the speedway. So we'll get them all ready to rumble. We'll get them all ready to roll here in just a couple more moments here this evening as drivers down pit road. Drivers try to get their cars repaired, trying to get themselves back out there onto the racetrack, and obviously a few drivers already running into issues here this evening. As out in front, it's Al Likens. Likens leading the way here with Gage Wenzel. They're in second. Cogswell in third with Dalton Wicker and Drew King rounding out our top 5. Now, for Al Likens, Cogswell, and Drew King, they were down pit road last on lap number 8. Everyone else around them here, and pretty much everyone from our second, 4th place driver, and everyone from 6 on back has been down pit side since lap 16 or later, like Ken Mueller, who was just down pit road there on lap 17. So they're going to have a lot more fuel in their rides than what the 34, the number 84, and the 9 ride will have out there on the racetrack. So obviously a couple different strategies out there. We'll have to really see kind of how those strategies get played out and who's going to be able to use them to their advantage later in this race. And it's going to be interesting to see, really, obviously, a lot of different tire wear, a lot of different fuel mileage games being played, and that's where the big money is going to be made. Hitting that strategy right, even with some of these early caution flags, you want to make sure you're on point, you want to make sure you have that track position, but you also have the fuel in your tank to make some moves here. Maybe if we see a long green flag run and have to make green flag pit stops, that you can stay ahead of the curve, maybe make it one less pit stop, maybe try to throw those gambles in there that can potentially help you out later in this race. But nonetheless, we'll get ready to rock and roll. We'll get ready to go back to battle here next time back around the start-finish line as Al Likens out in front, leading the way here in this one. Man, a couple early caution flags. I didn't see that one coming. I honestly didn't. I thought here at Indy we would see just a lot of green flag racing, man. I thought we were going to see a ton of green flag laps here this evening, and obviously now with 3 caution flags at our first 20 laps of this race, definitely mixing things up, making the strategy that much more difficult for all these drivers. But that's going to be the name of the game, man. I keep saying it, but that's probably how it's going to play out. Drivers either late in this race, if we see it stay clean and green, we're going to see a lot of cats either cutting in very, very close on fuel, either some drivers just making it, or some drivers potentially running a little short, having to make very late pit stops here after trying to play that gamble and stay out for a little bit longer. So we'll have to wait and see how this happens, how this gets run out here later in this race. But right now, we still got a lot of laps left to go. As we go back to green flag racing, this time by the start-finish line, it'll be 23 laps completed. So 23 laps will be done here today. And that means we got still about 47 laps left to go here in this race. Virtually still, 2/3 of this race left to go for all these drivers. That's a lot of laps. It's a lot of time to have mistakes or to recover from an issue early on in the evening and try to battle yourself back up towards the front. You already see Dalton Wicker there in position number 4. We should really take a look at that outside lane as Gage Wenzel's going to be looking for a big restart right here. So isn't that 77 right at Dalton Wicker? If they get locked together, if they push hard here, and having the 94 right at Boughton, who's fairly aggressive there to their outside, that 51 as well. There's some pretty fast cats there in that outside groove, and if they can time this restart perfectly, it could be a drag race down into corner number 1. As here we go, Likens onto the loud pedal right there, does get a pretty solid launch, and it looks like the 36 able to clear the inside lane right there. Got a good jump with that 9 right, able to time it perfectly right there. Unfortunately, the driver's back behind him, not getting the launch that he was hoping that they would get. Unfortunately, no help pushing him forward, and he'll stay there in position number 2. As Dalton Wicker up into 3rd here, as we do see Cogswell back into 4th, as here comes Jaden Newson now inside our top 5, as Dylan Picklesheimer able to make some moves there on that restart. Picklesheimer now finds himself up and in to position number 6. Has Boughton and Wilson right there behind him, with Drew King back in 9th. Gavin Grubbs there rounding out our top 10. Aaron Spear, the 20 right of Jeremiah Nelson. Corey Denk back there in 13th. Then we see Max Cost, Anthony Ludy, the number 18 of Michael Carter there in 16th. James Hudson, Chase Abel, Kent Mueller, and Tyler Chronister rounding out our top 20 there on the racetrack. Jack Simpson back in 21st, with Zofeld there in 22nd. Both of these drivers 2 laps down out there on the speedway, and right now it's Jack Simpson who sits in the lucky dog position. For Justin Hendry, unfortunately, Hendry still down pit road here after that contact and damage for the 54 ride. He is still down pit side getting repairs done to his car, and unfortunately now at least 4 laps down, potentially going to be even 5 or more by the time we see him back out there on the racetrack. Is my boy Mr. Holler. What's good, Holler? Holler coming in, showing the love, says, what's good, Kev? How are you? Hey, it's Kev coming in, showing the love over there on YouTube. What is good, brother? How are you doing this evening? Coming in, showing the love here in this one, man. It's some great racing action, and out in front, it's Gage Wenzel who takes over the race lead. Wenzel out in front as Al Likens slides back to 4th. Dalton Wicker right there with them into position number 2. And we do see Cogswell there in 3rd as Likens falls all the way back into position number 4. Here comes Dylan Picklesheimer, the 40 of Jaden Newson, as they battle door to door there, side by side back there behind them, as well as, oh man, there's some tight moves out there on the speedway. Drivers making some aggressive moves, cutting up and down this racetrack, especially down these straightaways, and just barely clearing the noses of some of these other drivers, and that gets very, very difficult in a quick hurry, as here comes that 94 down to the inside of not only the 51 but also the 40 ride. And Boughton looking to slide up towards the top 5 here once again, as he trying to get around the 40, trying to get around that 9 right of Al Likens, as Likens looking to try to get a little help here down the straightaway, hoping to get a little bit of extra draft. Is there 3, 4 wide back here deeper in the field. Look out, 4 wide. Hey, that is some exciting racing, as we saw the 95, Corey Denk in the 17, the 24 ride peeking his nose down low, that 18 ride right in the middle of it, backed out of it nicely, same with the 24, realizing that was probably not going to be a good call, and now look out, we get another driver turn around, caution flag back out on the racetrack. Caution flag back out on the speedway. Gavin Grubbs goes for a slide here on the corner 2 exit. We talked about that's going to be a pretty dangerous area. We're going to see a lot of drivers just get a little loose there and may have had a little bit of help here for that 12 right. Let's take a look back at it. See the contact here, as we do see Aaron Spear down to the inside of the 12 ride. He's down on the rumble strips here, down onto the apron. See if he washes up the racetrack, makes contact with the 12, or if the 12 just gets loose right here. Nope, there is definite contact as the 96 just gets a little tight, pushes up the track, gets into that left rear quarter panel of that 12 ride. They both kind of get hooked together. They're trying to stay out of it, unfortunately for the 12 ride, as he tries to recorrect that car, trying to get pointed back in the right direction. Just kind of hooks there to the right, turns around, he locks things up, trying to not slide into oncoming traffic, and luckily enough he does a great job of that, not going straight up towards that outside fence and potentially ruining a lot of other drivers' days here at the Speedway. So just keeping his foot on that brake pedal, sliding down through the middle of the racetrack and avoiding any additional issues out there on the Speedways. Let's take another look at it, see that contact here between the 12 and the 96 riders. You'll see the 96 right here out of corner number 2, just washes up the track. Going to make that contact, and that's what's going to get things started right here. There's the contact Around goes the 12 right, trying to catch it. Obviously, the car goes around. Now he's pointed up towards oncoming traffic. Luckily enough, just locks things down, keeps that Ryan Blaney paint scheme nice and pretty out there on the speedway, but does get a little contact, a little damage there off of the other driver, and unfortunately, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes out there on the racetrack. We'll have to wait and see if he can battle back and try to race his way back inside the top 10. Now, that's a great break for a driver like Jack Simpson, as that should give Simpson the lucky dog. The wave around should get him back on the lead lap. And now here we go. Some more split decisions. Drivers electing to come down, not come down pit road. We do see Gage Wenzel, Dalton Wicker, Dylan Picklesheimer. They all stay out. Same with Adam Belton and Jaden Newsom. But we do see Cogswell, Al Likens, Aaron Spear, Anthony Ludi, Michael Carter, Max Koss, Kent Mueller, Tyler Chronister, Gavin Grubbs, and Chris Zofeld all coming down pit road right there, all looking to get fuel, looking to get potential tires, and trying to get their cars hooked up and ready for this restart. As we did see, unfortunately, Justin Hendry still down pit road here. Justin now he's now down about 8 laps, 9 laps out there on the racetrack. That's a absolute tough break, a heartbreaker there for him, and I do believe that may take him out of contention here for this evening's feature event, as we do see the 24 Simpson able to get that lucky dog. That should get him a little bit closer to being back onto the lead lap here today. I do believe that should put him 1 lap down out there on the racetrack. The only driver right now that is only a solo lap down here, as Sofeld still scored us 2 laps down, and for Hendry still down pit road, continuing to fall laps behind. As we'll get them all ready to rumble, ready to go back to green flag racing. Here is Gage Wenzel going to hang on to that race lead. Stays out there, does not come down pit side, and he'll get ready to rumble here in just a couple more moments and see if he can try to navigate his way back up towards the front. Let's see if we can bring a driver in like let's see if we can bring Drew King in here real quick for a little in-race interview. Let's see if we can find him out there on the racetrack. Where is Mr. King hiding here? There he is. All right, let's see if we can get him up here into the booth real quick. Hey, Drew, it's Aaron up here on the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Taking a copy?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Not too bad, Drew, man. So far, a pretty solid run here for you. Obviously, a little issues early on, but you're able to battle back and obviously playing some pit strategy here, man. What's kind of going through your mind? What's it looking like fuel-wise out there on the racetrack? What you guys got to do to be able to get to the end of this race?
Yeah, track position's everything here, right? So I'm being honest. I'm running my tank fully clean and dry, getting it out of the way, and then making one more stop and seeing how that falls. So that's just kind of what's going through my head. Teammates have other strategies, but we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. So one more stop after pitting there on lap number 8. So how much fuel do you get out of a tank here? How many laps can you complete here with a full tank? Obviously 75% of a tank here in the series.
We're seeing 28, 29 laps. It's really just how you use the throttle. So, got half a tank left. Should put me around 43. So we'll just play it from there and see how that goes.
Absolutely, man. I figured fuel would be an issue here, and that would be kind of the strategy for a lot of drivers. I thought you guys were going to get a whole lot less laps on a tank of fuel than that here today, but, man, that's going to make things very, very interesting, and obviously now you're the only driver kind of on that strategy here, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out for you, and hopefully it'll work out to the best, and maybe see you back up here in the broadcast booth, man. Good luck, have fun out there, and hopefully we'll see you back up here after the next 40 laps of racing action.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, give it up there for Mr. King as he'll get ready to go to battle here. Okay, so we got it wrong. I didn't think we were going to make it that far on fuel, so that really opens up the door here for a lot of different strategy for these drivers. For a lot of these cats, that's a whole different ballgame. Being able to make it, 26, 27, 28 laps on a tank of fuel, especially if you're not hard on the throttle, if you're saving a little bit of gas, maybe even extending that a little bit farther. So for a lot of these drivers, that really puts them now into the category for one more pit stop, especially if we see more caution flags fly. Obviously, it's going to make decisions that much easier, brings them even closer to potentially being able to make it to the end of this race, and it also allows a lot of these drivers to see what they can do here on some of these different pit strategies. When we look at a driver like Drew King, has 8 laps less of fuel than all the drivers in front of him here, and about 3 or 4 drivers back behind him. But we see a lot of these drivers that just came down pit road. They're on lap 28. They can easily make it to around lap 45, lap 50, be really good on fuel here in this final bit of the run. So that's going to make things very, very fun to see how it all gets played out, as track position will be the king here this evening. And right now, the king with the track position is that 36 ride, as the Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches ride of Gage Wenzel. A great restart right there, once again clearing any of the cars around him, able to slide out in front, and now looking to run away with this one as he's trying to keep all these guys back there at bay. Dylan Picklesheimer, though, battling his way back up into second. He's got Jaden Newson right there on his back bumper, as here comes Wicker. They're in position number 4 and looking for more, as Jeremiah Nelson back there in that 5th spot on the speedway. Zach Wilson there in 6th with Adam Boughton, Corey Denkin. Then we see Drew King and James Hudson rounding out our top 10 there on the speedway. Cogswell back there in 11th with Al Likens there in position number 12. Chase Abel back in 13th. Then we see Anthony Ludi and Michael Carter rounding out our top 15 here this evening. Aaron Spear, Tyler Chronister, Gavin Grubbs, Kent Mueller. Look out, Aaron Spear slideways on the racetrack. Another caution flag will fly. Caution flag back in on the racetrack. Looks like that number 63, Max Goss, getting a little bit of contact into that one. As let's take a look back at the 96, maybe getting a little help here from the 24 ride. Oh, baby. That's going to get tight here for the 24. Obviously, Jack Simpson trying to battle his way back to the lead lap. He was in the free pass position, but being a part of this caution flag here potentially may block him from getting that lucky dog. Down to the inside, 96 kind of comes down right there. It's hard to tell whether or not Spear kind of comes down. He's definitely pinching him, not wanting to give him a whole lot of room down there on the bottom side of the racetrack. Watch the 24 in comparison to that white line. Doesn't really leave the white line right there. I just think that Spear either thought he had him cleared or thought that maybe the 24 would have rolled out of the throttle. Maybe a little net coat helping it out right there as well. And the 96 just gets a little contact there into that left rear quarter panel, knocks that rear end loose, slides sideways down through corner number 2. Unfortunately, though, he is going to get some pretty solid contact right there as he backs it up and bounces it off that corner 2 wall. Pretty solid contact right there for him. And then as that car continues to roll down the racetrack, look out as Zofeld, Kent Mueller both able to just avoid him in the 63, able to quickly drive down low, able to avoid contact with that 96 ride. Has to lock things up there himself to try to avoid hitting the inside fence or having more issues there himself. So great piece of driving there for the 63 to really keep himself out of any more additional damage and carnage out there on the racetrack. So that's gonna make things interesting here. Obviously another opportunity for drivers to come down pit road here on lap number 32 now. Being able to make it 28 laps if they came down pit road right now, virtually on lap 33. What is that going to put them at? That's going to put them a little bit shy here of potentially making it to the end of this race, but it really opens up the door for them to make a decision on when they want to come down pit road. But it looks like all of them are going to stay out right here. No one elected to come down pit side. Honestly, a little bit too early right now. We will see a few drivers deeper in the field looking to get tires or looking to try to get repairs on their race car or looking to just try to keep up on that fuel here all evening long. If you're not going to lose any track position, obviously never going to hurt to make sure that you get as much fuel into your tank as possible. So we do see Chronister back down pit road. Kent Mueller, Aaron Spear obviously looking to get repairs. He's back down pit side. Max Koss also coming back down pit road right there. Obviously going for that slide, but not any damage there on his ride. But you do see the 94 ride with that damage, actually 96 ride of Aaron Spear with the damage, getting that repaired, getting a set of tires put onto that 96 as well. And he'll look to stroll back out onto the speedway here, see if he can give it another go. Let's see if we can get Aaron up here into the booth right now. Let's see if we can pull this 96 ride into the booth, see what he's got to say here about the contact and the issues out there. I'll see if we can pull him up here into the booth. Hey, Aaron, it's Aaron up here in the broadcast booth. Do you get a copy?
Yeah, I sure do.
Aaron, man, take us through the last incident there on the racetrack. Obviously, tight racing right there between you and Jack Simpson. Looked like maybe a little contact, maybe a little neck code right there down into core number 2. Obviously, some pretty solid contact there for you into the outside fence. And now parked down pit side, getting this car repaired, getting ready to go back to green flag racing here in just a little bit, man. What's going through your mind there after that issue, and how you feeling trying to get yourself back into this race?
Yeah, man, it stinks. It really does. It's just a racing ordeal. I'm getting ready to pull the car back out, and we'll try and limp around. I have a feeling it's not going to be the last caution we see. So, we'll see. I'm still kind of hopeful.
Yeah, obviously trying to be as hopeful as possible, but track position being so key here this evening. But obviously with more caution flags, maybe the potential of trying to pit maybe a caution before some of these other guys, getting a few more yellows in, you know, maybe leapfrogging them there, and obviously saving fuel under the yellow flag here, trying to make it to the end of this race may be the key to success here this evening. But for a lot of these drivers, man, playing the edge of that fuel mileage, trying to keep themselves out of trouble, but early on we've seen a lot of issues here. Quite a few caution flags. Not really major wrecks, just little single car issues that a couple of drivers may get collected in. Are you a little surprised with how this race has gone so far? I thought we'd see a lot of green flag laps here throughout this race.
I mean, you said it the best. Position's key. And I think everybody's just trying to grab at things that are attainable. And you know, when we get these restarts going, it's really easy to get going on the high side. So I think it's just a game of cat and mouse, and how people are trying to position themselves to set themselves up good for the finish. But I think if we go green here, I'm going to try and limp it all the way to about lap 64, and then I'll probably take some fuel and no tires, and hopefully it'll give us some more spots there.
Yeah, absolutely trying to play as many games as possible, and obviously trying to work that strategy. Good luck out there, have some fun, and hopefully some better luck here to finish off this evening's event. Aaron, good luck, brother, and hopefully we'll see you back up here maybe at the end of the night.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, giving up there for that 96 ride is Aaron Spear, getting ready to go back to battle. He's going to get ready to try to limp that car around, try to make it to the end of this race. Maybe some more caution flags, more opportunities for him to try to get that car repaired, and maybe even get a little lucky here. More caution flags, more opportunities to save more fuel out there on the racetrack. So if you can really get to somewhere around lap number 40, we see another caution flag, even maybe down to lap, 38-ish, somewhere in there. If somebody wants to play the big strategy, come down pit side, get fuel, potentially make it to the end without having to come back down pit road, maybe being able to save some fuel throughout some other caution flags, save some fuel throughout, some of the racing as well, maybe not having to make an additional pit stop here where everyone else will come down pit road once more, potentially could leapfrog yourself up to the front of the field or into a better finishing position. As here we go back to green flag racing, and down on the inside, a pair of those 24-30 teammates getting a great restart right there as the Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches ride of Gage Wenzel out in front. Once again, another great restart there for him, and he's going to bring his teammate in the 40 right there with him. But now Jaden Newsom gets a little tight down at a corner number 2, washes up the racetrack, allows a big run down to the inside here for Picklesheimer and the 77 of Wicker. Wicker's looking to make it 3 wide as we go 3 wide down into corner number 3. Look out, as man, that got a little too close for comfort right there. Jaden Newsom, he saw that one coming, decided he was going to roll out of it. Wicker did as well, and Dylan Picklesheimer was not letting off that throttle, sent it in there and was not backing down. But as they battle here for position number 2, it's allowing Gage Wenzel to open up a bit of a race lead here. So Wenzel out in front, leading the way. Wicker now into second as he's able to navigate his way back around the 45 ride of Dylan Picklesheimer. We do see Mr. Jaden Newsom up into position number 4. Zach Wilson there in 5th with Jeremiah Nelson, Corey Denk, Adam Boughton, Drew King, and James Hudson rounding out our top 10. So our top 10 if they're on the speedway right now, as you do see the 2 ride down to the inside here with Drew King gonna be able to make that pass for position number 9. King's gonna fall back into position number 10, but he says, I'm not done yet. I'm gonna battle back. He'll get to the inside into corner number 4 here on that 2 ride. Now the 2 washes up the track, and Drew King will jump back up into the 9th spot. And now that brings the 9 of Al Likens right into this battle. Likens getting a great run down the inside here, may even be able to steal position number 9 away from Drew King here into corner number 1. You see the 84 Ryan going with him. That's Jonathan Cogswell. As here comes Anthony Ludy. Here comes Michael Carter, Chase Abel, Gavin Grubbs, Tyler Gronister there in 17th. And there you see that 96 ride. Aaron Spear just trying to limp that car here to the finish, but he is able to pick up a couple spots there during that restart as Kent Mueller, Max Koss both fall back behind him. We do see Jack Simpson, though, still 1 lap down, getting tied up in that last caution flag. Did not get the lucky dog, did not get the wave around back onto the lead lap in for the 24 ride. He's going to need another yellow flag that he's not a part of to try to get himself back onto the lead lap. And for a car that looks like it's got some good speed here, he was up towards the front, battling hard early on in this race, and we'll have to wait and see if he can get the wave around again, get back onto the lead lap after losing internet connection early in this race and having to reload into the sim. He was a couple laps down, but battling right back into it here as he continues to battle through the traffic right now, showing that he's got a good enough car to jump up and duke it out here with what would virtually be our 13th place driver right now, Anthony Ludy, there in front of him. Is out in front, though, it's Gage Wenzel who continues to lead the way. It's my boy Taylor Pratt coming in with that like on the stream. How are you, Pratter? Coming in, showing the love here in this one as, man, definitely some great racing action here this evening as, yeah, bots over there on Twitch, man, I swear to God. Richard Plays account created 5 minutes ago. Yeah, okay. As here we go. Down across the line. This is lap 39. I think we're getting very, very close to where drivers can make it on fuel, but I feel we're going to see a lot of drivers try to stretch this fuel mileage out. They want to try to make it a little bit farther here as Hayes Kev says, Indy race? Yes, sir. A little Indy action here this evening. Little Indy racing here today as Gage Wenzel out in front, continuing to lead this thing, man. He's got a fast car. We saw Wicker early on, though, being able to lead some laps. He had a great car here early on as well, and then right behind him, Picklesheimer. We saw him trying to take that race lead early in this race. We saw Zach Wilson starting that pole position. What can these drivers do back there behind him? Are they trying to save fuel right now? Or are they trying to... We heard it there from early on from Drew King about where this fuel can kind of get them. Can kind of get them around 28 laps. I'm going to say drivers are going to play a little bit more cautiously, try to get towards a 25-lap area. So I'm going to say we're probably going to see these drivers in the next 5, 6, 7 laps. We're going to see them start to come down pit road. We're going to start to see these guys make green flag pit stops here for a lot of these drivers. There's some that may stay out a little bit longer here, as a lot of these cats can make it quite a bit longer than the drivers that were down pit road on lap number 16. So there could be a few drivers that elect to stay out, see if they can try to catch a caution flag. If they can get a yellow flag, maybe it'll be good enough for them to be able to leapfrog some of these drivers, maybe take advantage of it if they do get a yellow flag, potentially trapping even some of them a lap down out there on the racetrack. So it's going to be very interesting to see kind of how that one plays out and how that one kind of ends up here today. Is still some absolutely amazing racing here this evening, man. These guys are showing putting on a hell of a show for us, Chad. Hell of a show, hell of a stream here as they're really putting together some great laps, some good green flag racing right now. We love to see that. Love to see them continue to keep on putting on these great laps. Yo, Bad Brad Racing. Bad Brad coming in, showing the love there with the raid as well. How are you, Brad? Brad coming in, showing the love here today, inviting his viewers to come join the stream. Any of the Bad Brad Racing viewers, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed his stream. Hopefully Brad had himself a wonderful day, a wonderful stream there, and hopefully you guys are excited to catch a little bit of IndyCar racing here to finish off your nights. As out in front, it is that Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches Chevrolet. That is that 36 run, Mr. Gage Wenzel here at the front of the field, continue to show these drivers that he may be the car to beat here this evening, as Wicker there in position number 2. He's falling back now about 9/10 of a second as Dylan Pinkelsheimer there in third. Zach Wilson trying to reel in that 45 ride, rolling back there in fourth, and a bit of a gap, almost a second back to Jeremiah Nelson there in fifth. Is now that we kind of got some good green flag laps rolling out here on the racetrack, we're starting to really see the speedway open up, really allowing these drivers a little extra space out there on the racetrack. And now we do see one driver coming down pit side. It's Drew King. Drew King coming down pit road. He talked about trying to make it down towards lap 42, lap 43, coming down pit side here. So playing that strategy a little bit earlier, making this green flag pit stop first. So trying to get the advantage here of being the first car down pit road, having some fresher tires onto his race car here. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out for that 34 ride, as we'll see if that starts to bring the other drivers down pit road. I feel like we're going to have a lot of drivers try to stretch out the fuel here, try to keep themselves rolling out there for a little longer in this race. So it's going to be interesting to see, though, if some of these guys start to make that hard left-hand turn back down pit road here to make what could be their final pit stop of the day. Now, I think if everyone came down pit road right now, they should probably be good to lap number 70. But the harder they're on the throttle, the longer they're running out there, the more potential they're going to have to potentially, run into issues or have caution flags fly or anything else. So I think a lot of these guys are going to run it a little bit longer, definitely trying to make sure that they have that extra fuel in their tank. If we see a late race caution flag, the potential of NASCAR overtime, you want to make sure you have that extra, 2, 3, 4 laps, maybe even 6 laps extra fuel in your gas tank here. And I think for a lot of these drivers that were down pit road there on lap number 16, if they can make it 30 laps with all those caution flags, that will bring them right around lap number 46. So then it should be here in the next lap or two, we should start to see these guys heading down pit road. But they may have been able to save even more than that. If they could have saved, maybe 4 laps, 5 laps of fuel, maybe they can make it to lap 50 here before coming down pit road again and really giving themselves that extra bit of fuel in their race cars here for late in this race. As so far, no other takers. Drew King, the only driver to come down pit road, and that does put Drew King into a lap down situation here. He's right in front of Jack Simpson. Simpson is scored as the second car 1 lap down, so if we were to get a caution flag right now, Drew King would get the wave around back onto the lead lap, which would be a great break there for him. But that would be a tough break for the 24 ride, as we will see Jack Simpson. Simpson already looking down to the inside here, thinking about trying to make that pass, knowing that he could be in that lucky dog spot right here if that 34 ride goes behind him. So it'll be interesting to see if he tries to make that move or just lets this kind of play out. As not a lot of cats coming down pit road, but we do see one make their way down pit lane. It's the 40 ride of Jaden Newson. Newson heads down pit road, so Jaden gives up a top 10 run right there, heads down pit side. Looking to get that fuel, looking to get those tires. His potential final pit stop of the evening here, coming down a little bit sooner than the rest of these drivers. Everyone else a little bit later, coming down pit road. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out for him. Obviously, tire wear, not a major factor here this evening. Drivers are, they're running quite a little bit slower than their initial lap times or their best lap times out there on the speedway, but it's not an egregious amount. It's, half a second, a quarter of a second slower than their fastest lap, so really not gonna give up too much time to the fresh tires. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. And obviously you take that big risk of going a lap down, making these green flag pit stops. Jaden Newson still down pit side here, and now we're starting to get into the area where potentially Newson too fast entering pit road, potentially a pit road speeding penalty here for the 40 ride, and that may be what's keeping him down pit side right here. As here comes Adam Bounton. He'll be the next driver to make this green flag pit stop, unfortunately, for the 40 ride. That's what we talked about. Making these green flag pit stops, getting those penalties, that could be your game over out there on the racetrack. And unfortunately for Jaden Newson, that looks like that may be game over for him. That is going to put him a lap down out there on the racetrack. Even if things cycle through, everyone else comes down pit road, he's still going to be, 30, 40 seconds behind all of our race leaders here. He's very, very close to even potentially going 2 laps down. And here comes our race leaders back down the front straightaway. And you do see Dalton Wick or Corey Dank both head down pit road here. So the Tiny Toes Ryans elect to come down pit side on lap 48 here. So lap 48, they head down pit road. Gage Wenzel, Dylan Pinkelsheimer, a bunch bunch of other drivers like to stay out a little bit longer here. Obviously playing that strategy, trying to keep themselves out there on the racetrack, trying to make sure they get that extra bit of fuel for late in this race. There you go. You see that 94 ride roll back out onto the racetrack. That's Adam Boughton. As of right now, Boughton is scored a lap down right here. He is not in that free pass position. If he could have gotten out and in front of Gage Wenzel, stayed on the lead lap, that would have been a major break for him. That would have really helped his case out and potentially could have put him to the front of the field here this evening. But right now, he's got to wait for that ride to head down pit road, and here you go. Here comes Wenzel down pit side. He's got to lock him up right there. You got to be very, very careful. Do not want to get a pit road speeding penalty like his teammate did. Put himself into a hole out there on the racetrack during green flag pit stops. You'll see Zach Wilson down pit road. There's Jeremiah Nelson down pit side. So another 3 drivers making their final pit stops here this evening on lap number 49 here this evening. So that's making things very, very fun. That's making things very, very interesting here for a lot of these drivers on what they're doing out there on the racetrack to try to help themselves out here, trying to put themselves into a position late in this race to maybe win this thing, as Dylan Picklesheimer continues to hold on to the race lead this next time by the start-finish line. They will complete lap number 50 out there on the speedway. So 50 laps going to be completed, and we're going to get only 20 laps left to go here this evening. So 20 laps of racing action left here today, as there's Picklesheimer. He will head down pit side, and here comes a slew of other drivers. Here comes James Hudson, Anthony Ludi, Chase Abel. Here comes Max Koss, also down pit road. Some more drivers making these green flag pit stops out there on the speedways. Cogswell going to consume that race lead. He's going to stay out a little bit later. He was one of those drivers that came down pit road on lap number 28 for Likens, Michael Carter, Tyler Chronister. A lot of these drivers were down pit road either on lap 28 or 33, so they've got a lot of extra fuel in their gas tanks. They could probably make it another 10, 13, 14, even 15 laps longer than our race leaders, which would really put them probably about 5 laps, 8 laps shy of fuel, maybe 10 laps shy of fuel here, so they can run it for quite a little bit longer. Be interesting to see if they take that strategy, if they try to run this race long here. Hope to catch a caution flag maybe, but even if they get a yellow, I'm not sure if it's going to help them out a ton, as they are probably going to have a lot of drivers with fuel back behind them, so I'm not sure if this is going to play out into their favor. Maybe if they can come down pit road, make a green flag pit stop, get fuel only, get a quick splash of gas and go, maybe be able to stay in front of the race leaders and come back out onto the racetrack here a little bit later. We'll have to wait and see if that's kind of the game plan for a few of those drivers here, as you do see Aaron Spear. Aaron Spear was down pit road there. He was down pit road on lap 33 as well. So I think he said he was planning on coming down pit road around lap 64, which would put him about 6 laps shy on fuel. He talked about doing that strategy, getting that splash and go and being set loose, and maybe that will put him into a winning situation. But right now, as we take a look at our race leader, Jonathan Cogswell, Cogswell's the best driver sitting in that position, but really, he came down pit road on lap 28. Same with Al Likens, Michael Carter. Chronister back there in the 99 ride. He is the lead car that came down pit side on lap 33. So he's sitting in the best position, but really, our race leaders are only about 34 seconds back there behind him. So that's going to be very, very tough to make a green flag pit stop, even just getting a splash of gas and going and not giving up that race lead. But could they end up with the top 10 run? Could they end up with potentially maybe a top 5? It is there. It is a possibility. If we take a look here for Chronister right now, even though he's only 34 seconds or so in front of our race leader Gage Wenzel, or what was our race leader Gage Wenzel, you know, Zach Wilson, who would be considered our 4th place driver, he's about 38, 39 seconds back. Adam Boughton another second or so behind him. Jeremiah Nelson another second back, 40 seconds behind this number 99 ride. So maybe that's the move. Maybe that's the play. Maybe that will set them up here late in this race. Make it a green flag pit stop. Maybe getting out in front of a couple of those guys, gaining themselves 5 or 10 positions on the racetrack that they may not have been able to get during green flag conditions. Maybe not being able to make that many passes out there on the racetrack, but maybe being able to make those passes on pit road could be the winning strategy here today. As Jonathan Cogswell, though, has the race lead. We do see Al Likens there in second. Michael Carter back there in third with Cronister there in fourth. That's where we see Gavin Grubbs in position number 5. And then we see Aaron Spear all the way back there in that 6th position. Kent Mueller in position number 7. And then we see all the way back here in position number 8. It is Gage Wenzel. Dylan Picklesheimer there in 9th now with Dalton Wicker rounding out our top 10. Zach Wilson back there in 11th with Adam Boughton. Jeremiah Nelson, the 17 of Corey Denk there in 14th. Then we see Anthony Ludi back in the 15th position. He's got Drew King right there behind him. Then we see Chase Abel, Max Cost, Chris Zofeld, Jaden Newson back there in 20th. James Hudson there in 21st. Then we see Jack Simpson back in 22nd here this evening. Justin Hendry. We do see Hendry back out there on the racetrack. Unfortunately for Justin, he is about 10 laps down out there on the speedway. Definitely not the way he wanted things to go here this evening, being 10 laps down out there on the racetrack after getting tied up in a wreck early on here this evening, and unfortunately having to spend an extended period of time down pit road. Not a place he wanted to be out there on the speedway, but still jumping out there, looking at some fun, looking to learn as much as he can here in the closing laps here at Indy. Is out in front. Cogswell leads the way as 55 laps completed and only 15 more laps left to go here from Indy, as we'll jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, make sure you guys went to check the NFL score. The NFL score for what? Ain't no NFL games going on here now. What in the world? As Stephanie says, come on, Gage, keep it up. I know you can do it. Cheering on Gage Wenzel out there. And Kev, what NFL game are you talking about, brother? But nonetheless, we jump in to our Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on our drivers. Is it preseason? Hall of Fame game. Okay. I was wondering what the heck was going on. I was like, it's way too early for preseason or anything else, man. I wish it was preseason already. I wish it was regular season already for the NFL. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for all these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session out there on the speedway, as right now our race leader is this 99 ride. It's Tyler Chronister. Chronister out in front leading the way, but yet to make an additional pit stop, as we do see Aaron Spear. He talked about coming down pit road around lap 64. Here he is down pit side on lap 62 here this evening, making his final pit stop, looking for that splash of gas and going, hoping to try to gain a few positions. Has that damage on the ride and hoping that it's enough to get him back into the battle here this evening, hoping to get at least a solid finish out of this move. So we'll have to wait and see what he's able to do and if that's going to be able to give him enough here to move up a few spots. As Tyler Chronister, he's in that same boat, still having to make another pit stop out there on the racetrack, but maybe potentially being able to keep himself out in front here, leading some laps, having that clean air on his car. Maybe he can make that pit stop, come out, get a better finish than where he was sitting without having to make passes on the racetrack, but making passes on pit road with the pit strategy. Maybe the best bet for the 99 ride. Who knows? Maybe he's got enough fuel in the tank here. Maybe he can make it to the end. He's still rolling out there. Was down pit side on lap number 33. So virtually he has drove 30 laps here on this tank of fuel. Now, we've had a few caution flags where that was the yellow flags there, able to give him a little bit of fuel savings out there, so being able to save a little bit of fuel, and then he's saving fuel here, trying to run slower lap times, trying to back this race up, potentially right from the drop of the green flag when we went back to battle there just after lap number 40. So maybe he's been able to save a couple extra laps. That doesn't look like he can make it any farther. Here he goes. He was able to save a couple laps right there, but does have to come down pit side. And it looks like he's going to slide through the pits right there. He may get a pit road speeding penalty, and all that strategy, all that game plan may have just went out the window, and now it goes into the hands of this 8-rider, Kent Mueller. Mueller now into that best position here. Now, Mueller's been really more aggressive on saving fuel. He's been saving and saving and saving, and he's been saving so much that our old race leaders right there behind him already looking to catch up to him here, maybe having enough time to jump up and pass him if he's got to continue to keep saving out there on the racetrack to make it to the end of this race without having to come back down pit road for Kent Mueller. He's going to have to try to hang on. He may be in position, though, to still get a great finish if he can make it to the end of this race and not having to make another pit stop. I don't think he's going to be able to, but he's trying. He is trying, and we do see Tyler Chronister still down pit road here. Looks like potentially getting a whole potentially pit road speeding penalty there for the 99 ride. Heartbreak there for him, as that will probably put him a lap down here potentially this evening, and definitely going to lose all that track position that he may have been able to gain out there on the speedway. But for Kent Mueller, he continues to lead this race. 1.8 seconds between himself and Gage Wenzel, as Wenzel trying to hunt him down. Wenzel there in position number 2, trying to gain as much as he can here, trying to hunt down a lot of these drivers, hoping to work his way up towards the front of the pack here, and right now just trying to keep himself there in contention. And for Wenzel, all he's got to do is just kind of hit his marks, try to keep all these drivers back there at bay. If he can continue to just kind of keep on rolling out there on the speedway, not give up any time to the cars behind him, as right now he's got about a 3.3 second gap between himself and Dylan Picklesheimer. Picklesheimer's got about 8/10 between him and Dalton Wicker, as Wicker rolls there in position number 4. Zach Wilson back there in 5th. The 40 ride of Jaden Newsom. We saw Newsom unfortunately get that pit road speed penalty down pit side there on lap number 46, and for that 40 ride, unfortunately, he's a lap down. He is the first car a lap down out there on the racetrack, so if he could get the caution flag, could really help him out. As there we go, we do see Kent Mueller can't make it any farther. Lap 66, 4 laps shy of fuel there. The 8 right has to come down pit road, making this green flag pit stop. We'll wait and see where that puts him when he comes back out onto the racetrack. Unfortunately, that strategy I don't think is going to play out too well for him, but we did see one driver playing that strategy, ran the fuel along there, was able to gain a few spots. That's the 84 ride of Jonathan Cogswell. Cogswell and Al Likens both gained probably a handful or two of positions here and able to jump up inside the top 10 and potentially could finish in that 7th and 8th position out on the racetrack. So strategy-wise may have played out there for the 84 and the 9 ride to get some solid finishes here this evening. But right now it's all Gage Wenzel. Wenzel able to play his cards perfectly here this evening. Has the race lead and down the front straightaway here at Indy. and back down across the bricks here at the start-finish line. He will click off lap number 67. And 67 laps completed. Only 3 more laps left to go here at the Brickyard. So 3 more laps left, and for all these drivers, especially Gage Wenzel, does not want to see a caution flag. For drivers back there behind him like Dylan Picklesheimer, Wicker, Zach Wilson, Bounton, they want to see that yellow flag. They want to get another opportunity to try to put themselves up and into victory lane. I'm sure they're going to be happy with their finishes, but being able to kind of go for that race win is definitely going to be a little bit nicer for them. But for Gage Wenzel, he's the one driver that wants to see this continue to stay clean and green. Wants to see this one go to the end here. No late race issues. Is down and out at corner number 4, back down across the start-finish line here for that beautiful 2430 Motorsports Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches number 36 ride of Gage Wenzel. He sees 2 more laps left to go. All he needs to do virtually is get back here to that start-finish line. If he can see that white flag flying before another flag being the caution flag out there on the racetrack, then this race will end no matter what. Even if they wreck on the final lap, it will not matter. All he's got to do is take that white flag and then kind of be on cruise control here. He's still got 3.2 seconds between himself and Dylan Picklesheimer. That is a big, big gap out there on the racetrack. He can kind of settle in, just hit his marks, not push the car too hard, not put himself into a position where he makes a mistake and opens up the door to allow the 45 or the 77 to hunt him down. As here we go, down out of corner number 4, back down across the start-finish line. Here comes Gage Wenzel, and there's the white flag. It's in the air, and we see our final lap here in the Juicy Spider 175 here from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Gage Wenzel gets that white flag. He is looking to try to lead all these drivers back to the start-finish line, hoping for another big checkered flag here on the season with the Hypershift Racing League. Is nice and easy through 1 and out of 2. He'll take us back down the back straightaway here across the golf course right there, and able to keep that car just rolling, steamrolling down the back straightaway. Still just a little over 3 seconds between himself and Dylan Picklesheimer as they head down in the corner number 3 for the final time here this evening. The Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches perfect down through corner number 4. All he's got to do is keep that foot in the throttle as here we go down the Indianapolis Motor Speedway front straightaway back to the start finish line. It is Gage Wenzel who will pick up the checkered flag, and he will get the opportunity to kiss the bricks here on the front straightaway this evening after picking up the checker flag here at Indy. As Gage Wenzel captures the victory here in the Juicy Spider 175 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for the Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches 2430 Motorsports ride of Gage Wenzel as Wenzel picks up the dub here this evening from Indy. Dylan Picklesheimer coming home in second. Dalton Wicker there in third. Wicker going to give his congratulations to our race winner right there, saying great run, great race, great strategy there for him. Here comes Picklesheimer to pay his dues to our race winner is the 36. Gage Wenzel able to play his cards right. Started at the back of the pack and able to drive his way up and through the field and in to victory lane here again this evening. He's been able to do that quite a bit. Once he went on probation for an earlier issue out there on the season, has had to not qualify here for a few races, and man, oh man, oh man, oh man, he's been able to just drive his way up to the front of the field, pick up some big wins from the back of the pack, and he does it again here tonight. They may just want to start letting him qualify again early. They may not want to see him have to start back there, as it seems like when he starts towards the back of the pack, man, he just drives right on through the field. As Emma says, back to back to back, she says, let's go, Gage. Yeah, Gage has been absolutely on fire. As Hey, it's Kev says, night, big guy. See you Saturday and Sunday. Kev, enjoy the rest of your evening, brother. Hopefully have yourself a wonderful night. We will see you back here Saturday and Sunday for certain, my dude. As Sean O'Keefe says, 3-peat is coming. Oh my God, you rock, he says. As Linda O'Keefe says, yes, Gage. Cheered on Gage out there on the speedway. Emma says, woohoo, almost there. You got this, Gage. Cheered him on. Linda said, go, Gage. I told you he could do it. He could definitely do it. There is no doubt about it. And he's able to prove you right and captures tonight's victory, as we'll get ready to pull him and the rest of our top 3 up and into the broadcast booth for their post-race intense interviews. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for our race winner here this evening, Gage Wenzel. Hey, Gage, it's Aaron up here on the Peacemaker broadcasting booth to get a copy.
Yes, sir, I do. What's up?
Not much. Gage, man, you're able to complete the three-peat here this evening again from the back of the pack to the front of the field here, man, as you're able to capture the victory here at the historic Indianapolis Motor Speedway, man. Take us back through this race and what's going through your mind out there as you're able to kiss the bricks or drink the milk, whichever you prefer here this evening, getting the dub here today.
Well, I'd say both, but yeah, man, it was a strategy race out. Like, track position was everything, and I started out back, so, like, I didn't have anything to lose, so made some aggressive pit calls, and, yeah, it was a fun race. Once I got clean air, I felt like I was, like, whoever had clean air, like, if Dalton had clean air in that restart, he probably would have pulled away, right? It's just so clean air dependent here, and which is unfortunate, because I feel like Dalton probably could have given me a good race, and if he took maybe 2 on a certain stop, right? But, we played the cards right in strategy. I don't think I was probably the quickest car. I was just executed on that part of the race, but all around a good race. I mean, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, obviously a lot of fun, a lot of great battling out there, and quite a few restarts there early on, and that really opened up the door for a lot of different strategy to be played out here. Obviously, we saw you come down pit road early there on lap 8. You took tires. I kind of thought that was a little bit of an odd move, but it works out perfectly here for you. Obviously, the entire strategy all night long falls right into your hands. You're able to get that track position, wind up out in front, have that clean air, and then just drive away here to the checkered flag on this long run late in the race.
Yeah, the strategy there was I was probably going to take rights or no tires the rest of the race, and that's all I did for the rest of the race. So the 62 laps on the left side tires, but the point, like, the tires didn't mean anything. I mean, I was pretty tight at the end there, but it didn't matter in clean air. Unless I got behind someone, it didn't matter. So, and then everything just perfect. Me and Jaden hit the strategy tonight, and he was really good tonight. If he didn't speed on pit road, he would have got a top 5 finish. It sucks for him, but yeah, we were really good tonight. It's awesome to win in the home track at Indy. I'm from Indiana, so this is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was really cool. Obviously, last week we saw you win there at Dover. You were able to take that trophy to Indianapolis Motor Speedway and watch the real NASCAR race there as well. So you're able to go there, get that real-life experience, watch those guys in real life here, and then take all that knowledge and aspect from the real racetrack right here back to the simulator and navigate your way through the traffic and back up into victory lane, man. Take us back through that experience, obviously winning in your home track, but also being able to watch that NASCAR race in person here at Indy.
Yeah, the race was pretty fun. It just sucks how hard these cars are to pass here. I mean, it's always been hard to pass Indy, even in the Gen 4 days, but man, it's just impossible, even in the game. And if it's hard to pass in the game, then it's bad. But yeah, I mean, winning here is awesome. I was really looking forward to this. I was like, home track, and I love these big 2-mile ovals, and Pocono and Michigan are coming up, so I might be going for 5. As long as I don't wreck or anything, I could see it, because I love these racetracks, and now I get to qualify. So, but I don't know, maybe I won't be as aggressive with strategy calls if I qualify, so maybe I just won't qualify.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. I said that before we dragged you up here. Maybe it's the best bet for you not to qualify, and even if you still had weeks of probation where you weren't allowed to qualify, I think it would be a good call for the rest of the field to allow you to get back off probation and qualify and try to get you kind of out of your rhythm here, as obviously things are clicking right now for yourself in that 36 ride and back-to-back checkered flags, man. You're obviously firing on all cylinders heading towards our playoffs at a great time to be catching on fire.
Yeah, I'm excited. These playoffs coming up, and man, these tracks line up so good for me. All the bigger tracks are, like, these big 2-mile tracks, like I said, are just so good for me, and I love them. Yeah, so this part of the schedule kind of just fits perfect. The middle part of the schedule wasn't great. It's all a little inconsistency for myself, and not really as many wins. But yeah, I'm excited. We should have the point lead now. We definitely have the most wins, with 7 now. I don't know how we have that many. Seems like we just had a lot of really good races, but yeah, I'm super stoked.
Absolutely. Well, playoffs just around the corner. You're sitting pretty here in the points, and obviously having lots of wins. You're feeling good going into these playoffs here, and obviously now with a couple more good tracks here in front of you, man. That 5-peat, I think there might be a bounty on your head, though. I think there's going to be a lot of drivers that are going to be not wanting to see that happen. They're going to want to try to keep you back there at bay, and unfortunately for them all, they weren't able to do it here this evening as you pull yourself up and in to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway victory lane. Gage, who would you like to thank here for such a solid run here at Indy?
Yeah, I gotta thank all the sponsors on the car. Tom Stacy, that new livery looks absolutely beautiful tonight, and I had to park it in victory lane. I know everyone else doesn't want me to win, but I sure want to win, right? But 213 Simware, those guys make great merchandise for iRacing. Go check them out. My whole family that watches me, my mom, my grandparents, my amazing girlfriend, my other half. You up here in the booth, guys put on a pretty good show tonight. It was a little rocky there at one point in like the 30s with a lot of cautions. That's okay. We all have that. And you up here in the booth, yeah.
Absolutely, brother. Well, it's always my pleasure to watch you guys out there on the racetrack, and it's always good to have you up here in the booth. And obviously getting pretty good at these interviews after 7 wins on the season and now a 3-peat here. And looking for that 5-peat over the next couple of races. We'll be looking forward to more trips for you up here into the booth, maybe more trips up here into victory lane. Gage, enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy the party here at your home track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You have a good night.
You as well.
Yep.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Gage Wenzel. As Gage gets the win here this evening, we may have to change his name. It's no longer Gage Wenzel. We may have to change it to Gage Winzel. It's Winzel, okay? It's Wintel. Okay, it's Winzel. Not Wenzel anymore, it's Winzel, because all he does is win, ladies and gentlemen, as he's able to get it done here this evening. And now we'll get ready to pull in our second place finisher. It's Dylan Picklesheimer. Picklesheimer coming home here in position number 2. Let's get Dylan up here into the booth for his runner-up finish here this evening. Hey, Dylan, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Take a copy.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, Dylan, man. Solid run, solid effort out there on the speedway here this evening, man. But you come up one spot shy of the checkered flag here at Indy. Take us back through this race, and what's going through your mind right now as you come home in second place?
Well, I just wish we wouldn't have had all them cautions early on. It was really a battle between me, Dalton, and Zach there at the beginning, and we just couldn't seem to stay green long enough, so it kind of worked in the Gage's favor, and he was able to pit and then come and take no tires. When I took 4, I got back to 11. So I was like, yep, there goes my night. But I was able to work back up there, and Gage, I mean, he's just quick. When you have the strategy and the fastness of that kid, he's just good. So that last pit stop, I took 2. I think everybody behind me took 4, so I was able to get second. And Dalton was closing in on me, but this track, it's hard to pass. So I just kind of held my line and prayed and just ended up P2. So we took it, needed it for the points for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Points, always the big question mark here. And for yourself, I'm not 100% sure on what the points are looking like, man, but what does the second place finish here this late in the regular season do for you in points-wise here in the series?
Well, I'm fighting Gavin and Anthony. I got suspended for 2 races and had to miss one, and I think Anthony's been here for every one of them. So he had like a 37-point lead on me tonight. And so after Dover last week, where I wrecked from the lead on lap 14, I just put a bummer on it. But I was able, I think they finished 10th and 11th, so I at least got about 10 points on them. So it's a start, man. I'm going to have to click away with some finishes these next couple weeks and try to get in for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to have to try to get those points, try to earn as many as possible, and hope for some tough breaks there for the 12 rider, the 95 out there on the speedway to try to navigate your way into the playoffs here this year, man. But you did everything you could here this evening. Obviously, some good strategy, trying to rebound from those earlier caution flags, and then racing your way up here into second place, one spot shy of victory lane here this evening. Dylan, who would you like to thank for another great run, great performance out there on the racetrack here this evening?
First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, brother. I'm excited to go back and watch this. I try to do that every day. Every league race I do is thank the broadcaster first off. I want to thank the admins and all the boys that race with us in here. I want to thank my teammates, especially James Hudson, Jeremiah Nelson, Al Likens, and Chris Ofeld. I want to thank my wife, and I want to thank my mom, my dad, and my father-in-law. And I think that's about it, brother. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Well, Dylan, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you here this evening. Now we go back to a couple 2-mile racetracks here at Pocono and Michigan over the next couple weeks, man. How you feeling about those? You think you're going to be back up here in the booth, maybe into Victory Lane one of these nights?
It just depends on if Gage shows up or not. Cause Pocono, I like Pocono, and then Michigan's basically Auto Club, and I won there, so I think I can at least get up here and talk to you at least one of those races, and
Absolutely.
we'll try to win it.
Absolutely.
For
Well,
sure.
I know Gage. He told us this is his home track, so he must live in Indiana. So if you want, and try to get there, cut his internet or something out before the race, and get back onto the sim, so that way he doesn't show up. It may be a good plan for everybody here in the series. As he's pretty confident going into those 2 racetracks, and even talking about trying to win 5 races in a row over the next 2 weeks.
I mean, anytime you can win 3 races in a row, you definitely have the right to be cocky. So he can, like myself. I mean, we're both aggressive. We've done our fair share of mistakes this season, but that kid is fast and he has got the speed, and it's gonna be crazy to see how this season the playoffs work out. He should have it wrapped up if Al don't get his stuff together.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to see, and hopefully we'll see you back up here in the booth next Thursday night. Maybe one spot better and into Victory Lane yourself.
Yep. Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
Yes, you as well. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for Dylan Picklesheimer as Dylan comes home here in position number 2 here this evening in the Juicy Spider 175 here at the Hypershift Racing League, as we'll get ready now to pull in our 3rd place finisher, our 3rd place driver out there on the racetrack, the 77 ride. It's Dalton Wicker. Wicker comes home here in position number 3. Let's get him up here into the broadcast booth. Hey, Dalton, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Take a copy.
Yes, sir. What's up?
Not much, Dalton, man. Another solid run, another solid effort for you here this evening. Obviously, early on, looked like you had a fast car, man. And if maybe we saw this stay a little bit more clean and green, obviously having that track position may have been able to put yourself into Victory Lane here this evening, man. But you battled back for 3rd. Take us through this race and kind of what's going through your mind right now as you round out our podium.
Yeah, it's so tough. I mean, in a fixed setup here, the air is terrible behind people, so you just kind of hit a bubble where you can't gain, and then when you do gain down the straightaway, it kills your run on the entries of each side. So it was a really tough night once I got behind. Congrats to Gage. He's been doing great last few races here, and to go from the back and get to lead multiple races in a row. I know he was able to get a little bit more aggressive on the setups or the pit cycle, so good for him. Great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Now he's got to qualify, though, but at this point, I don't know if he's going to want to, as he's been on fire here lately, and it's been tough sledding for the rest of you guys, trying to navigate your way around him and trying to battle and keep him out of Victory Lane. And now headed to Pocono and Michigan for the next couple of races here. What are you going to do to try to keep him out of Victory Lane there for his 4th and potentially 5th win in a row?
If he gets it, he does, whatever. We're just worried about our own race and getting as much points in as we can and leading up to playoffs, put ourselves in some good spots as far as momentum and just staying up front, having good races, completing races that we can dial in the strategy, however the race goes, and just adapt along the way. So I think we're just more focused on that, but look forward to Pocono. And I think once we get to the playoffs, those tracks are going to be really good for us.
Absolutely. Well, hey, consistency is key, and consistency is what builds championships, and that's definitely trying to keep your eye on the prize, stacking those pennies, and putting yourself into a position here for these playoffs, man. It's never a bad thing, and we can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack for those next 2 races before the end of the regular season. But Dalton, man, who would you like to thank here tonight, man, for a solid run, solid drive, and another top 3 finish for the Tiny Toes ride?
Yeah, thanks to Corey. I know he was kind of struggling and kind of learning this track tonight, but I think he did a great job holding it to a top 10. So great job to him. I wish I could say great job to the field, but I mean that was kind of shit. A lot of wrecks early, and we gotta clean it up as a whole. And I think some guys need to really use their head and figure out what's going on late in these races, because I got cost second place on multiple occasions there, and I think just as a whole, we need to respect each other a little bit better because it's getting a little dirty out there. So hopefully we can clean it up, go to Pocono, and do a bit better.
Absolutely, brother. Always look forward to seeing green flag racing out there on the racetrack. Those yellow flags tend to get a little bit tedious, tend to drive viewers down because people don't want to watch you guys do eye-pacing out there on the racetrack. But nonetheless, the uncaution flag definitely spices things up at the right time. But honestly, early on, seeing all those yellow flags makes this race that much more tougher. Obviously, opens up the door for different pit strategies for people, but also it kind of gets you guys out of your rhythm, man. How do you guys deal with those yellow flags and keeping yourself locked in here throughout the rest of the race?
Yeah, I think early it really is just a tough time to get into a rhythm, just start making some laps, feel the car out, and how the track is feeling. We go 2 laps and then we're pacing around here. I can't imagine that's fun to watch. I love the league, but I just think we got to do better as a whole.
Absolutely, man. Hey, tough words, but sometimes they've got to be said, and unfortunately here tonight was one of those nights where drivers just couldn't get things under control back there deeper in the field, but at the front, man, you guys were putting on a hell of a show for us, man. Some great racing up there, and unfortunately here tonight, you come home a couple spots shy of, I know, where you want to be up in victory lane, but a third-place run, man. Congratulations on the great finish, and hopefully we'll see you back up here in the booth next Thursday night.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks a lot, and tiny toes.
Beauty. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for Dalton Wicker as Wicker comes home here in position number 3. Obviously, everyone's going to have opinions on the yellow flags or how drivers are racing. Obviously, Dalton obviously got ran rough a couple times out there. Not very happy with some of the drivers. Maybe a little deeper in the field here this evening. I'm not sure where it may have happened or if it was just the yellow flags out there that he feels maybe did him wrong here this evening. I'm sure Gage isn't complaining too much about it out there, but nonetheless, some tough sledding out there for a lot of drivers here this evening, and that's sometimes just the track, man. Sometimes the tracks are tough, man. They're tough to tame. We went to the track that's not too tough to tame. We went to the Monster Mile last week. Obviously, it's a pretty tough short track there, and drivers having issues there. Then obviously we come here to Indy. Indy's another one of those tracks that's it's tough to pass. You got to be kind of aggressive, and sometimes drivers just get a little bit too aggressive out there on the speedway and causing untimely caution flags early in the race, and that's just something that drivers will work on, man. And I know the drivers that may have ran into issues here this evening or anything else, they'll work on it. They'll get better. They'll learn. And it's all about learning, having fun, and having a good time out there on the racetrack. And hopefully every one of these drivers, whether or not they came first or came last, hopefully they all enjoyed their time on the simulator, had a great day here on the track, racing with their buddies, racing with their friends, and trying to keep on battling here this evening. As Squeaker says, yeah, Gage isn't complaining, laugh aloud. Yeah, he is definitely not gauging. He's definitely not complaining here this evening. That is for certain, as he was able to pick up the checkered flag, man. He's out in front, feeling good, feeling fine, and I know he's going to be a threat here in the next few races, so it's going to be fun to watch to see if anyone can jump up there and maybe beat him, put him back outside of the winner's circle here over the next couple weeks, and we'll have to wait and see if Gage can get himself up there as well. Nonetheless, though, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and showing the love here this evening. All the likes, the comments, the shares. We appreciate each and every single one of you guys. If you guys haven't already, it's not too late to do. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the stream for us. It's absolutely free to do. Helps us out a ton. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here this evening. And definitely make sure you guys hit that bell notification. Turn those noties on. That way you never miss it when we go green flag racing here on Peacemaker Gaming. We're off tomorrow. We don't have anything scheduled tomorrow evening, so we probably won't get anything going, but we will be back up here in the booth Saturday night for some more amazing racing action. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys back here in the next one. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Rubber burning engine screaming, it's a madhouse. Hyper shift racing, every driver wild and riled out. Peacemaker broadcast, a crowd tuned in tight, watching steel beasts fight under stadium lights. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Tires spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hyper shift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafting on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits, in the fast lane we stay. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a down, the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a down, the glory we take. Tire spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hyper shift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafted on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits, in the fast lane we stay. Pistons pump like heartbeats, it's mechanical insanity. Hyper shift warriors bending physics with calamity. Peacemaker feeds a frenzy to every fan's delight. When the lead's in the zone, it's a glorious fight. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake.